Hello, this is Rhonda, and I'm that green woman. And this is our first show, so welcome. And what we're going to talk about today is why I asked these two Republicans to drop out of our local race. Okay? So, I'm also the chairman of the Washington County, Indiana Libertarian Party, and I'm also running for office. And so, what I'm running for is the Washington County Council. Now, the council does the financial and actually approves budgets and tries to monitor where the money is going. Okay, they are not the ones that spend the money, they are the ones that monitor and vote pass when budgets and that kind of thing. So, I am running in the 3rd district of our county. The other Libertarian that is running for office is David Norton, and he is running in the 4th district. Now, no Democrats are running this year for these offices, and we only have one Republican opponent each. My opponent is Preston, and David's opponent is Karen. And we're not going to use their last names here right off the bat because this is a different venue. Even though they have no problem having their names known, this is something that is a little bit different than just having your name out there for a race. We're going to talk about why it would be prudent and helpful if they actually dropped out of the race. Now, I've spoken to them privately already, and so this is the public presentation. Okay, so in Indiana election law, July 5th is the last day that a political party can put a candidate in the race. July 5th at noon, okay? And so that's the absolute last day. But a candidate can withdraw from the race all the way up to July 15th, which is this Friday at noon. Okay, right now, today is July 11th, and of course, you know, a candidate can withdraw just about any time, but that's the deadline where they don't have to go through the election. Now, this 10-day grace period means that if our opponents withdraw, that means we automatically get into these offices, right? Because we're not running against a third party. Okay. And it sounds pretty cheesy to ask, but there are some reasons behind this also. If they stay in the office, they're really having a hard time in the office. The local Republican Party is a little bit aggressive and has treated them both very badly. Now, you know, once again, I'm not going to comment on their own personal needs and what's been going on in their lives. That's not my privilege to put forward, but my assessment of the situation, in my opinion, is that the local Republican offices or Republican Party is very aggressive and extremely corrupt. Okay, having said that, I know that Preston and Karen are very good Republicans and they're trying to do the best for the county or for the Republican Party. But they don't really have the will to go ahead and change the party. And they know that. But they, you know, so far I haven't heard whether they have dropped out or not. Okay, so if they choose to stay in, they can go through the election. After July 15th, they still have to go through the election. They cannot have their names withdrawn. Nothing else can happen. So whether they want to be in office or not, they will be in office if they're elected. Now, what can happen and what normally happens if they will try to have them drop out. Okay, so like if Preston were to die in office, then they would replace him with somebody else that wasn't elected. This is something that happens all the time. But if they do drop out in this grace period, then a non-Republican can get in and actually take care of some of the corruption that is happening in our county. Okay. So, one of the reasons, okay, I want to go ahead and give you an example of bullying. Okay. I'm sure it is way worse in private. But this is a clip about art funding. All right. This fund is like 2.7 million per year, and they've been giving them out because of COVID and trying to have the communities recover. And another board had actually put this forward, and let me just go ahead and bring this up. All right. So if you have a monitor, what you're looking at from left to right, the one circled in pink is Preston. He's my opponent. Excuse me. Karen did not show up for this meeting, which is understandable, and whatever. Keeley is the one circled in orange, and she is the chairman of the council. Okay. The blue circle are the commissioners. From left to right, that's Rick Roberts. The one in the middle is Philip Marshall, and the one on the right is Todd Ewing. Okay. He's the one to watch on this. You know, Rick does a little bit of a snark, but Todd is the one that really puts it home. And the one circled in purple, that's John Meade. We'll talk about this a little bit later. Dustin Howard, just to let you know, the one circled in pink is Kyra. Okay, now I want you, when you watch the clip, I want you to kind of take notice. Early on when I started recording in February, I told them and I said, look, you need to go ahead and talk into the microphone, otherwise we can't hear you in the audience, and it's hard for my phone, which I do the recording on, to pick it up. Of course, you know, like 3-year-olds, anyone that you see with the microphone up is basically flipping off the community, right? And they don't want to be heard. So I apologize for the sound up front, and here we go.
I'll second it.
We have a motion on the floor and a second by Bubba. Any further discussion? I'll add, just from my own vantage point, I want to see the list of where these funds are going, whether that be quotes or letters, something in writing that's talking about where these particular funds are going and what, some sort of justification for those. So I would like more information before taking a vote on that, personally.
Okay, as chairman or president of this board, she has every right to have actual information. Now, whether that was emailed out or what have you, but she is looking for information on how the money is going to be spent. Not just the organizations that it goes to, but the information where the organizations are going to spend this money. This is a very valid request. Okay.
You can gather that at every art meeting.
That was Rick Roberts.
Excuse me just a minute.
Oh, here's Todd.
These funds have already been earmarked for projects. We have 5 members of the community who are devoting and giving up of their own time without pay. They are Brock Bush, Anita Temple, Sherry Clam, Dr. Mark Manship, and former Councilman David Holt. Back in early spring last year, the 3 of us decided that this was too big of an undertaking for 3 commissioners. And we wanted to delegate some authority and some guidance with people who what we would consider are pillars of the community. They have done an exemplary job of getting us through this. Now, a lot of people think, well, you know, when the government hands out money, Boy, that's great. Well, let me tell you, it's not all great. Now, we have not had people beating our doors down wanting this money for one reason or the other. We have had several requests.
Now understand, she just asked for information that she has legitimate right to, and he goes off on some other tangent.
We initially focused on infrastructure, water improvements, and we're working through some of the other issues, nonprofits and things. We met twice a month up until about December, from May to December. We have got down to once a month. We're meeting every first Tuesday at 6 p.m. These meetings have been going on for a year. And why in the world would someone explain to me there has been very few people other than the three of us and these two ladies over here who have been in attendance, and now when it comes down to crunch time, when we've already earmarked this money, we're questioning whether you should approve it or not. Last minute.
That is literally their job, to go ahead and look the information over and make sure that the money is wisely spent. All she asked for was where they were going to spend this money. What were you going to spend it on?
Now, if you doubt the judgment of the 5 people on that art board, and if you doubt the judgment of us, then I would suggest that some of you better inform yourselves and attend some of the art meetings. They put their time in with no pay. We do get paid. We're there. We've been in every meeting, 3 of us, and these ladies, trying to muddle through this and do what is best for our county.
What is best for our county is for you to be transparent, Todd, for you to actually do your job and give her the information she needs so that she can pass, or they can pass this legally and ethically and correctly.
So this last minute stuff, we're expected to suffer and wait because of some others' inability to plan.
I believe there's a motion on the floor. We need to vote.
That's
You
Bubba.
made the motion, I second. It's time to vote.
Now understand and look at what they're doing. Now, I grew up as the principal's kid locally, and we used to ride the bus, right? And when somebody got abused, a lot of times it was us, yelled at or hit or anything similar to that nature. Everybody else on the bus, and including me at times, hunkered down. Didn't save anybody, didn't protect anybody. That's the victim response. And none of these people came to her rescue. Preston included. Preston's microphone is straight up. Keely actually talks into her microphone. Okay? And
Thank you.
Commissioner, you and I will say before calling for the vote, that is something that it should be expected to send that sort of information to the council before the body will be approving this. With that, I will call for a vote. All of those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries.
okay. Let me just say this at the end. My asking you, Karen, Preston to drop out of the race is not me being mean or abusive. It is my way of being as merciful and respectful as I can. I have gone out of my way not to include you in anything that I'm going to do or have done so far. And but that will change after July 15th. You have not been effective. If you remain in office, you will not be effective. Like in this clip where Preston just sits there, Preston will not be effective. He will not represent the community the way it needs to be represented. And Karen, God bless you, you just don't show up. And I know that you all have personal things that are just piling down on you, and I understand that. And it's not that I have to win. I've lost so many times, it does not matter. In fact, I am much better off personally if I don't get in. But what I'm going to do is we're going to go through this process. I intend to be savage in my campaign. Savage. And I will not promise that I can protect you from the situation, because deniability and actual not participating is not functional either. And if you can't, God bless you, if you can't keep your pride, how dare you, if you can't keep your pride out of it and actually do the right thing for the community, then that's on your head. And once again, after July 15th, I intend to be savage. I intend to go ahead and look at every crevice and crack and make it so unbearably miserable. I will try to protect you, but see, once again, not doing something is just as bad or worse than doing the wrong thing, because you guys are enablers. All right? Anyway, it is a mercy, and I tried to be respectful up front, and so be it. It doesn't matter to me whether I win or lose. I'm going to do the same thing. And by the end of it, once again, I don't think we have real elections, and I'll go into that and why. But by the end, if you do stay in, I will make sure that people know and will be astounded and beyond all belief that you shouldn't be in office. I guarantee. And in a way, you will be the proof that I have in my belief that we don't have real elections. That's my intent. As savage as that is, that's what's going to happen. I'm Rhonda Green. Thank you for listening.